So next objective is Bloodshot Gate, so I can go back to Three Horns. And just hit it. I think it's possible because of that fast travel that the time saved in total is worth the time I spend unlocking the Happy Pig Motel. But who knows? It's just a thing I do ritualistically. And it may or may not be worth it. Anyway, though, I get the correct car and drive it approximately 20 feet. I've always wondered, sort of logistically, do they have no type of lookout? Because they see me get in the car here, right? And then drive right up, and they know I'm not a bandit, but I have a bandit car. With Lilith's tits on it, no less, right? But they don't know I'm not a bandit? Like, what? I get the bandits are functionally retarded, but that's, like, more than I was assuming. I need this barrel gun. Hold on. Okay. So, yeah. The headshot here is a pretty easy one hit, as long as there's no weirdness with the shield. Occasionally he'll pull his arm back, and it'll block behind him. I think I'm going to try to... Well, so if I shoot him, it's going to kill all the midgets because of Boar. I think I'll try a little to slag them all. Okay, and then I'm going to go for a good hit here. Okay, well, I killed a midget somehow. I killed them all. Whoops. Well, if at all possible, I wanted to... you know, kill Bad Ma and then Mini Must Fall chain the midgets into it. But that doesn't usually happen. The sheer damage provided by this Zer0 build kind of kills things out of nowhere. This area can cause some issues. The barrels are random in element, and some of them are more annoying than others. I think the shock and slag ones are the worst by a long shot. My Nova one hit that guy. Okay. I think there are still enemies back there, but I'll pretty much leave them. I'm not rushing too much, but I won't hang around while enemies spawn, especially if they're primarily bandits. I hit the shield. Ah. Midget was bored because he overlaps. There we go. This is no slag. One hit, no headshot, yeah. Ah. It's always by, like, the third guy I get a bit of shield back. That's okay. Now, this is random. It's either a Psycho or a big guy, if I remember correctly. A, Nomad. In this case, it was a Nomad. Oh, shit. I didn't have the grog out, so I one-hit myself. Kind of my mistake. Okay, this area can cause some trouble. Something interesting I like to point out, this turret doesn't scale its health based on the the level or even the overpower level. So anything one hits it. See? Even the Pimpernel, which does sort of a lower amount than other weapons. Only reason you can see the Pimpernel killing things pretty easily at times is because doubling something 4 times is a lot. To the point where they say like any number doubled enough is infinitely high, at least by computer standards, so that's fair. Ah. That'll res me? Yeah. Okay. Well, One more guy. He lost aggro on me, I think because there were no other enemies. Sort of a strange bug. I get the enemy aggro is sort of site dependent. But you would think if the game has a character that goes invisible frequently, they would maybe recalibrate it slightly so that the enemies don't just walk casually as soon as you disappear. It's some charming weirdness though. I have fair tolerance for that in Borderlands. Ah, that was unfortunate. I think my decoy was being shot at. That looked like a boar, but it wasn't. That floor material is one that doesn't block chain lightnings, they just pass through. So I got scammed slightly. Can't believe that. I can't believe that. Hold on. Aha, got him. So this is the area to do it. I'm gonna take out all these barrels first because they're pretty awful. I've had a fair number of, well, not a fair number, but I've had my fair share of barrel deaths. And they always feel pretty terrible. That wasn't a barrel, that was a box. Okay. Ah. Ironclads are one of the tankier enemies. I needed a little more on them before I went for the hit. There too. I think they resist melee a bit, which functionally just means they have more health. I'm a little bit surprised that the grenade broke on that surface. There we go. Okay. I'm being downed. That enemy has an outlaw gun. Okay. I haven't had to use the Herald in a minute, but I will use it here. What I'm going to call visual aids sort of made it hard to hit him. It was my fault, though. I could have taken it more slowly. I want to say that was the first death in a little bit. Oh my god. I think my decoy got rocketed as I healed. So I think only through Health Gate did I survive that. This might be a chicken or the egg kind of thing, but about Health Gate, I wonder if either Health Gate is in place because the enemies are so terrible that there needs to be kind of a safety net, or if Health Gate has become sort of a design crutch that lets them make the enemies pretty extreme. Because at least in this one, I'll say it's not so much the case in maybe BL1. Healing and health gating is a pretty big part of the game. People can overstate it sometimes in this one, but at least if you're running a character like Zer0 with no DR, no health increases, you do have to, for one, heal often. Or avoid damage pretty well, like maybe a sniper Zer0 would do. I'm gonna hit this guy. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Okay, I opened the console by accident. That was kind of bad. I went to press the number 1 and I hit tilde instead. Okay. A little bit of shield regen there. I'm getting blown up. Damn. I don't know what killed that guy, but it didn't seem like he exploded and hit me. So I'm unsure. I'll go kill this enemy here. I think it's a Psycho or a Nomad. Must be random. It's a Psycho this time. Okay. Once again, I'm going to hunt for some barrels pretty early. Especially these kind of dense... That one hit him. These dense, sewer-like maps with humans and, well, humanoids. It's pretty necessary that you eliminate the barrels, because the enemies tend to shoot them a lot, too. Or they have explosive guns that do. Okay. I think a chain lightning bounced into that room, maybe. I prefer to go into the side room first when I go through this area. Feels like the enemies are a little more manageable. I'm not foreseeing a huge amount of other commentary through this part. Oh my god, I'm getting shot at. That was my mistake. I grenaded myself. I'm not foreseeing a huge amount of other commentary, so maybe I'll talk about it now. I have a few kind of bits in mind I need to talk about. Thinking about Slag the other day, and just kind of what it does for the game. Kind of what people dislike about it, and what I think is maybe really the issue with it. Basically, like, yeah, it's annoying the enemies just have more health so that you can apply a thing that reduces their health effectively. I think it's sort of a necessary part of the game at this point. It contributes somewhat to the difficulty, even if it's just swapping weapons to apply a thing. I play a larger number of other RPGs and looter shooters and thing. So I'm used to, let's say, like the arbitrary, where it's like, yeah, you just hit with this, so the other thing does more damage. So that's kind of something I'm used to. I think I've cutscene skipped, so this will be skipped. Yes, okay. And then it bugs out, so I have to go through the side door. I'm used to kind of the arbitrary, where you just do things kind of because, like, it's just there to provide a little bit of depth to gameplay. So it is maybe strange that Slag is such a large part of almost every build, but I don't mind it too much. And it's a non-damage effect, so some guns, for example, that don't do good damage, such as the Slaga, though that one only comes in Slag, right? Some guns that don't do good damage at all are made better or worse because then you have a reason to run them other than just like the DPS they have. I've been downed here. This is sort of bad. Getting a little of... Yeah, okay. I'm just going to run through. I don't want to fight these enemies. Okay. Yeah, no, I guess that's kind of most of that part of it. There's a reason to use some weapons other than just straight up their DPS. It'd be similar if there was, say, shield breaking utility, but shields, unlike enemy health, they don't increase with every level. They're just multiplied by the level, if that makes sense. So enemies, to offset skill points slightly, enemies become almost disproportionately tanky, at least health-wise, and they don't do that in terms of shield, so maybe an oversight or bug that shields sort of are paper thin at this level. They might as well not exist. But if, for example, there was like a utility in shield breaking, then I wouldn't mind it either, because then some enemies, let's even say they require you to break their shields with a certain thing, I'd be okay with that, like in place of slag, let's say. So I think it's good enough for what it is. I'm gonna knock this guy off the edge. Wow, he fell really far. I thought he would. Oh, he's still falling. He's sliding? Okay, now he's dead. He ragdolled. No, he's standing there. Oh my god. He made it. I'm just gonna leave him. That's impressive. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, so I don't mind playing around slag. There are ways it could have been done differently, better or worse. Its impact could have been lowered a bit. But overall, I think it's fine. This guy, by the way, that's scripted to get blown up by that exploder, is tanky enough in UVHM to survive it. So it sort of defeats the purpose of that bit of story sequencing. I just think it's kind of funny. And in terms of slag being, you know, hard to play around or too hard to apply, I don't think that's the case. There are some builds that don't need slag at all, such as like melee Krieg. You just don't slag anything, and it's fine. Or some of them just have it built in, right? Like, well, Maya as a whole, even if you're not using Maya as a whole, oh boy, even if you're not using Ruin, Scorn. If you're not using Scorn, I'm sorry. Your Ruin will apply slag automatically, and Ruin is like one of the best capstones. So it's always available to you, and it just sort of happens. And even then, like, you just kind of play the game on Maya. Like, you phase lock things, everything gets pulled in, everything gets slagged. So there are ways around it. There are builds that don't really need it. I think it's a little bit maybe overblown, overstated, that slag is kind of a necessary part of the gameplay loop. Because you could ignore it if that's your main desire. You can just play a thing that doesn't need it. So I don't know. That, and it's usually a matter of like swapping to what's already the best healing weapon, and just shooting it a little bit. Or, for example, the Pimpernel, which I think is underutilized by sort of more casual players. Maybe just because it's a sniper and it's somewhat hard to use. But I think if players used maybe better slag weapons than the Grog, they would have a better time with it. So I think that's an indictment of the Borderlands players I hear about who complain rather than the thing being complained about. If I didn't have to strip again, I could have gotten a hit there. Believe it or not, the worst thing about playing Melee Zer0 is the floor. Some textures are just, or materials, let's say, are just not conducive to grenades, sort of. I'm fucked. Oh, did I trade? No, he's still alive. That was sort of bad on my part. I think I ran up the stairs not really knowing what the map looks like, and I was still in the open. I'll just take it slower, fine. Similar to the slag thing, I think there are a lot of just items, mainly, maybe some skills that people say are bad that aren't that bad. People will often overstate the significance of the meta. Like, yeah, the things that are good are super good, and I'm using, like, great weapons everyone uses. But you can do fine with other things. While unimpressive, like the Emperor is still fine. The reality of the Maya comm is it's the best. The Maya Cat comm is it's like basically the best comm in the game, providing like 500% damage. But even barring that, like a lot of things are fine. Not to say that ARs aren't a little underwhelming, but they can function in the right situations. Certain things feel like they just don't have an impact, but you know, there has to be a meta, so I'm fine with it. If things are better by a couple percent, they will get used differently. Which isn't to say that things shouldn't be maybe closer in power level sometimes, but you know. That's the guy that doesn't have any AI, he just shoots at stuff. Maybe I ought to run something for these drones. When I play Digistruct Peak, and I'm not playing with a Maya, usually I run mainly a Shock Pimper now. Armored tends to not resist shock that much. Okay, I vertical nailed that one. I'll just run on a bit. I don't think the surveyors are that threatening. Getting a weird texture bug on that door. Must be something I do, though. I did turn my field of view down after I was getting kind of this fog flickering thing. Basically, your field of view is modified when you sprint, and I had mine set high enough that fog was showing, but when you would sprint, it would disappear. It's strange. I decided that was time to turn down a bit. Okay. Oh, that's an exploder. I think I run through this part so fast, I hardly remember what enemies spawn. In my more typical playthrough, I just really rush this, because you can get to the next area and nothing fights you. Damn. Ran out of time to hit him. I have a drunk effect, though, so I think he's dead. Yeah, it looks good. Okay. Well, there's that pretty much. Warden is one of those that resists melee a little bit. But you can front crit him, so it's usually fine. Oh yeah, he's done. Okay. I think the funniest thing about the two fight with Roland sections in the game is that neither one is that difficult or compelling. They really kind of undersold Roland in this. They really didn't do him any favors. Oh my god, that was a bad throw by me. That was terrible. Couldn't I have just fallen down there with the other guy and hung out? That was downright terrible. I shouldn't have done that. But it's okay. This part sort of autopilots itself. Is it redundant to say autopilots itself? That I'm not sure about. Okay. think because I one-hit Warden, his eye still glows.
This planet's been waiting for a hero like you.
Hmm.
Goodness, Jack didn't send Lobo.
Anyway, though, go to Sanctuary and continue moving on.
How the hell did those bandits snag you anyway?
Handsome Jack is gonna kill us all unless you can stop him.
He means hi. That's his way of saying hi.
Right. Sorry. Hi. I'll be honest, soldier. We're losing this war. We've been trying to stop Jack for years.
Yep. And then I think at this point I'm able to save quit and then move on. No, that's right. Oh, is it? No, I think if I save quit again, it does it. There's a certain point where I do actually have to go to one of these. I think it might be the fridge, though. I want to say now that I've saved quit, I will have that fast travel unlocked. Yep. I believe it has something to do with how the game instructs you to go somewhere, and at that point it would be unlocked, but the check to see if it should appear in the fast travel is after the point it was given to you, so something like that. I like this part of the game. I think this is a pretty cool map. Story missions are sort of entertaining. There's not a lot done in it, but it is pretty cool. Okay, come here, Varkets. There we go. Oh, that's horrifying. Yeah, the cutscene skip does that. Certain set pieces don't despawn, including this guy who doesn't have a face. I don't know why that happens. Maybe it's meant to suggest that she took his psycho mask and his face, just leaving this empty skull, empty head cavity with no skull or anything. It's like an empty hood. I don't know. Anyway, though, she's gonna tell me I have to go get the rockets, so I'm gonna go for that. Probably get downed along the way. God damn it. Okay. Now I'm gonna try to run on a bit. I want to say I usually take the train tracks, or I run... Where do I go? I think I run into this area, typically. No, that must be incorrect. I'm not certain. I guess I will go this way this time. Usually pretty unlikely that you get hit by the train. this is sort of the back way to go. It's a nice skip, because you don't have to mob anything in this area. You just grab this one, then you go below. Grab that one. And I'm unsure if it's faster to save quit, but I've done that in the past. Or you just run through it. And yeah. Like a lot of things, those mines don't scale with the level or playthrough. So they do, I think, a lot of damage for level 15 or whatever, but here they do about 100. So. Just like the little side projectiles that warloaders fire. There's, I think, a number they're meant to incorporate that they simply don't. Like a level-based multiplier type of thing. So instead, they deal like 1 damage as a dot. For the longest time, I found Tina's character very annoying. Still kind of do, but it's more endearing. She's not that bad of a character. I've, you know, played Borderlands 3 with Vaughn being a major story element, so it could be a lot worse, I now realize. Now here, rather than go through that area and mob anything, I just run through the ice. So that's right here. Yeah. And that gets you the ladder. Oh.
Just poke their buzz when you want me to set the explosives off. I gotta do it remotely.
And yeah.
Son, I hear that you're racing. Counting down.
There's a certain spot you can stand over here to not get hit, but I usually just stand right here. It's easier to keep track of.
Well, that's one way to hijack a train. The Valkyrie's still up on that ice shelf.
And yeah.
Search the train.
He's basically a big loader, so he's a lot of knockback, but the Wilhelm fight usually isn't that bad. It's more this area that can be annoying, but I'll just kind of run through it. I don't know if the 3-gun loaders are that worth fighting necessarily. And I want to say I'm sort of forced to fight these. Running past isn't really an option because of the other exploders. Exploder. No, I'm good. So these should aggro on my deception. Yep. Alright, well. All good then. I get Wilhelm is hyped up a little bit throughout the story, but I don't find his appearance here to be that impactful. Because even when I was playing this for the first time quite a while ago, this is like obviously a boss arena, right? There's got to be something. And then, depending on how it goes, you'll see that Wilhelm isn't that hard of a kill. Oh, I messed up. See, right when I said it. Well, I'll go for... I'm going to take 2 on that. Yeah, there we go. I find the Wilhelm scripting to be a little bit kind of odd and jarring. He just stands there spinning, mostly, summoning drones, and then he runs off to throw one thing. He's also just a big engineer with robot legs. 4 went there.
Whoa. Never seen a power core like that. The one you got from Reese is nearly burned out.
Okay.
Why don't you bring it back here? We may not have found the vault key, but at least Sanctuary will be safe a little longer thanks to you. Wow, bravo! Champagne!
Alright, so that was a good hour plus, kind of a good chunk of the story. I think I might stop this one recording here and kind of pick it up another time. So, maybe later today or probably the next day. But yeah.